Hey guys, Inferno here. Today I'll be sharing my opinions on the second playtest in ZAR. After having access to both playtests and all the dev diaries, we're really seeing this game start to shape up, so let's get into it. First, we'll look into bosses. Now during this playtest, we only have access to the one boss, which is the Regurgitator. While Ninja Kiwi's hinted at the return of the Necrosis, we haven't seen it yet, so let's get a good look at this dude. Before the playtest, we already knew what he'd look like, but wow, he's quite a bit more challenging now. He's faster, quite a bit tankier, and has a variety of cool looking attacks that make it a reasonable challenge. Just like in SAS4, he spits out worms every so often, but he also has projectile attacks, including a single shot where you get no warning, and I won't lie, this one caught me off guard a few times in the playtest. He also has a triple shot attack, and it places 3 crosshairs on the ground to warn you where not to be. And finally, upon death, he explodes, and the blast radius is rather large. One last thing I thought was sick about the Regurgitator is this new animation where he opens up and spits out a bunch of worms. Now onto characters. During our first playtest, Ninja Kiwi showed off the first character models, which ended up receiving a lot of negative feedback. But now we have new characters, faceless soldiers similar to SAS4, which is a massive upgrade. And from what I've seen, literally everyone likes these new characters more, me included. Now onto weapons. In this second playtest, we were given quite a few more weapons to play around with, and a bunch of them had an elemental damage type, like thermal or electric. And before I show some of them off, it's worth mentioning that if you go to your armor page, there are 2 new elements, Void and Cryo. Now, if we could get our hands on weapons with these elements, that would be insane. But onto the weapons that I played with. My first weapon upgrade was the RIA T25 Igniter. It's a thermal rifle with decent pierce and relatively low damage, but it does its job pretty well with cleaning up the crowds from a distance. And the thermal weapon animations are really nice in my opinion. The zombies catching fire, burning, and falling looks pretty good. Then I got the Voltaic Blaster. It's an electric pistol that has a chance to stun enemies, and was pretty useful against the enemies that resisted my thermal weapons. It's also pretty decent for buying time to get out of a tough spot by stunning a few enemies, but it's definitely not the best option. This is because it's semi-automatic, meaning I have to spam click my mouse, and it's also a pistol, so it likely won't be as reliable as a primary weapon. Not only that, but the chance of stunning an enemy is pretty low as well. I find it interesting that the pistols are semi-automatic, but I wonder how that would work on the mobile version of the game, and I also wonder if we'll have an upgrade to make them automatic. I also tried the HVM LMG, which was able to hold up pretty well. I didn't have any complaints about it, but it also doesn't stick out too much. Considering it's an HVM LMG though, that's okay. Just like the other guns I tried, it sounds good, looks good, and seems pretty well balanced. Now unfortunately, those were the only weapons I was able to get. My lack of time combined with bad luck held me back from testing all the weapons. I really wanted to get the electric SMG that I saw people using, because I think that was the best weapon in the playtest, but I'm not sure. A few small details caught my eye too, like how your character actually looks through the scope or sight on his weapon, and one of my favorite additions, the flashlight on your gun which activates in dark areas. During my stream, I could not stop looking at it. Someone in chat also had the idea of a mission where it's completely dark, which I think could have big potential. Maybe they could add something like the power out mission from SAS4, but it's actually dark and your weapon flashlights are needed. Now onto the power weapon. This can be found in the map, picked up, and even dropped for teammates to use. As of now, we don't know much about it, but it seems like a rancer weapon, and when it runs out of ammo, it disappears. So I'm not sure if it'll remain a temporary gun, or if it'll eventually be obtainable as a weapon to keep in your inventory. Someone else in chat also mentioned that it could be ZAR's version of the hotspot, which seems pretty reasonable, because I'm not sure they'd want to add a gun with a constant laser beam, but we'll just have to wait and see. Now for maps. During this second playtest, we were set up with 3 different operation maps. We've seen Mining Facility, which looks awesome, but for the first time we saw Icefield and Abandoned Colony. I think Mining Facility is still my favorite, but I really like all 3 of these maps. The snowstorm on Icefield, along with the reflections on the ice, make it an easy second place choice for me. I also really enjoy the animation of the arc disappearing when you travel under it. And this doesn't mean I don't like Abandoned Colony. This map still feels really good. The puddles on the ground that shine, exploring the dark alleyways and buildings with your flashlight, and shooting over the sandbags makes this map just as enjoyable. Now for operations. The first detail I want to talk about is the possibility of a boss encounter when the ship tries to pick you up. Being used to the SAS-4 vaccine mission, I just completely stopped thinking once I saw the ship was about to arrive, so there were times I was caught off guard. I said it before, but I love the idea of this randomness within the missions. Something to make each game you play more unique is really nice when you play a lot, and it's something that SAS-4 was completely lacking. We were given 4 different operations to try: Close the Breach, Eradication, Eradication Surge, and Cache Recovery. I'll start with Close the Breach. This operation would have you and your team find objective points and stay within their zone to capture them, while zombies gather from all around. It was definitely a pretty good challenge and keeps you on high alert. I could see myself replaying this one and staying entertained, being that it's one of 4 operation types and the end scenario could always be different. Not only that, but out of the 4 operation types, this one seems to encourage teamwork the most, so in my opinion, it's definitely the most fun in a group. Next is Eradication, where you have a set amount of zombies to take out before the mission ends. Out of all 4 operation types, this is probably the one I cared least about, but I don't think it was bad either. The main focus is just eliminating zombies until you've killed enough, so it's a pretty simple concept, but it's still pretty challenging at times. Then we have Eradication Surge, which is just an upgraded eradication in my opinion. The whole objective is to take out as many zombies as possible before the ship lands. It's a slightly more creative way of going about a mission based only on killing zombies, but it also seemed like more of a challenge, and I usually saw a wider variety of zombies. Maybe that is just chance though, I'm not sure. And finally, we have Cache Recovery. In this mode, you have to collect a certain amount of caches and return them to the drop zone near spawn. The caches spawn in groups, and they last a few minutes. When the next batch spawns in, any remaining caches on the ground will despawn. This one was enjoyable and seems replayable. All of these operation types encourage teamwork, and I found myself needing to rely on teammates more and stay close. This is super new for me because it didn't feel the same in SAS-4. I also noticed that it's pretty nice to have a variety of different merc classes in-game. Me and my brother ran an Assault Heavy combo and it worked really well for us. Now I want to talk about the hub. This is a complete replacement of any menu screen where you can walk around, see other players, and access everything you'll need like the armory or skill points. For me, this was a completely unexpected change, but I'm definitely here for it. Being able to walk around, control your character, and see others is always more enjoyable than any menu screen in my opinion, so I'm rather happy to see this change. Now onto some extra details. The first one I want to point out is the strongbox animation, which is something I'm not a big fan of, but I'm sure it'll be changed quite a bit. I also hope that we can get a skip animation button. Another detail I saw is the fact that you can shoot the arms off of zombies, and this effect works surprisingly well and looks awesome. It's hard to pay attention to when the zombies are grouped up, but it makes getting that last kill just a bit more satisfying. It's such a cool attention to detail, and even though it's a small change, it adds a lot of life to the game. Another animation I like was the effect of the regurgitator spawning in. I'm not sure if all bosses will spawn with this effect, but it looks super nice. It's also a good way to hype up the fight and bring attention to the boss. The final detail I want to point out is the ammo and health displays. Around your character you can see your health, your magazine capacity, what type of ammo you're using, and when you're reloading. You can also see all of these with the exception of your health on your crosshair as well, which is extremely convenient. As you see here, when I switched to a weapon that has high damage ammo, you can see orange bars instead of yellow around my character and crosshair. One bug I heard about was with the Assault Dash ability, where if you spam your dash button, there was a chance to dash twice. I know during the playtest there were some updates, so this one may or may not even be patched already. Either way, I wasn't able to recreate it, and it'll definitely be patched before the game releases, so it's not a big deal. I also heard complaints of connection issues and small performance issues. I'm really hoping in ZAR that we have a different way to connect to a server. The current system in ZAR and SAS4 picks one player as the host, And this is an obvious issue. If that host player has bad internet, the server is slow and laggy for everyone. There was also a minor visual glitch that could turn a bloater completely black when he dies, so that was interesting. And the last bug I ran into stopped me from tabbing back into the game after tabbing out. This is really annoying and it happens with other games at times, so I'm really hoping this gets fixed. Now for my final rating. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd rate the second playtest an 8.5. I'm super happy with the new characters, the new maps, operations, the regurgitator, and a bunch of the small details like the flashlight, elemental effects, and shooting off zombies' arms. I hope that the strongbox animation is changed and we get a skip animation option. I also wonder if we will be able to unequip a weapon from the pistol slot, because as of now, we can't. I think my complaints are things that will likely be fixed before full release, so I'm happy with this playtest. And that's about it for this video, so good luck guys, see ya.